So as of a few hours ago, the first trailer for the Taken TV show has dropped. Now, I didn't think this thing was actually going to come to pilot. I didn't think it was going to go to series because the idea of a Taken TV show didn't make any sense to me. And so it dropped today and I was like, oh wow, this is actually happening. This is a real thing. And I watched the trailer, and if I'm being honest and fair, the trailer itself is not bad. It looks generic as can be. You feel like you've seen this 1,000 times before. Everything about it is very familiar, beyond just the fact that it's called Taken and stars the Brian Mills character. But it wasn't a terrible trailer. It looked like something I would enjoy watching, and I go, I'm going to check this out. I'm going to watch this and give it a fair shot. With that said, though, the reason that the show looked intriguing to me was because the premise of the show looked intriguing, not because it was like, oh, it's like Taken the TV show. As Taken the TV show, this looks like an incredibly dumb premise for a TV show. It just looks dumb. It doesn't seem true to what the movie was, the first movie. The first movie is one of my favorite kind of action movies of that genre. Not the big mega blockbusters, but kind of that mid-budget action movie. And for a simple reason, it's a very straightforward, fairly stereotypical action hero template. He's the guy with the skill sets that if you wrong him, he's totally willing to do whatever he needs to do to accomplish the mission. And then you get a world-class actor like Liam Neeson in the part. Boom, he's suddenly super interesting, even though the character is pretty straightforward when it comes to things. But the reason that movie worked is because it played off of a fear that people have, this idea of what if someone got kidnapped, and the fantasy of if someone got kidnapped, if something wrong happened, I could step up to the plate. And so they had a great way to cause fear, this idea of someone being kidnapped and having sex trafficking, and then this great character stepping into action, saving his daughter's life. So that's the fantasy of it. That's the fear of it. And then beyond that, they came up with a good mechanism to have a ticking clock. So there was constant urgency. As soon as hang up on the phone call, you've got 72 hours, boom, it goes into action. It moves fast and it moves very quickly. Even though it's not great cinema, it's just a great thrill ride. And that's kind of why the sequels don't work. Because that fear element of it, the fantasy or the fear side to it, that creates also this ticking clock and the urgency, those are gone. And so you just have this character that's not all that interesting on another adventure that seems very forced and fake. So that leads us to our TV show, where I go, I just don't feel like the concept of this works all that well, for the simple reason of the character, Brian Mills, isn't all that interesting outside of the concept of the original film, where his daughter's been kidnapped, therefore we forgive all the horrible things that he's doing. So you kidnap my daughter, I don't feel bad if I start torturing you to get information and leave you in a chair being electrocuted. I'm sorry. It's just hard for me to have empathy and compassion for the guy that kidnaps little girls and sells them into sex trafficking as just kind of casual everyday life. You don't have any compassion for that person as the dad catches that person. The problem with the premise of the TV show is it seems like we've now made him this tragic figure where his daughter's been killed. And so he's recruited by the CIA to help other people. It appears that their family members have been kidnapped. So you remove the personal aspect out of it. You might still have some of the ticking clock aspect, I would assume, like we've got 48 hours until the window closes. I'm sure they'll do all that. But then they're sending this guy that's a government agent. You can't do what we were doing before when it's his daughter that's working outside the law if he's the CIA guy just going crazy for other people's kids as a government agent. You can't do that. Will the show be interesting? Sure. Will it be taken in the good sense, not the Taken 2 and 3 sense? No, it won't. It will be very much the Taken 3 sense of it, where it's a guy with the skills doing something significantly less interesting than what we saw in the first film, where the movie gave us an excuse to live in this fantasy of the guy killing sex traffickers without any moral ambiguity. They're bad guys. He's a good guy. You've got my daughter. You get to die. You can't do that with a TV show where he's a government agent. It just does not work that way. Suddenly, you have to have a little bit more depth in those types of situations. Beyond that, the premise of this TV show is not the premise of the movies. Like, it's a whole different thing because it's a guy whose daughter was killed and now he's been recruited for the CIA. Every hero's got their origins is kind of their tagline, something like that. Do you go, but that's not the origin. It's not that his daughter was killed. You just created a new origin so you could have a TV show that's basically you just want to have action thriller TV show with a cool character like Brian Mills, and you want a brand that you can market easily that has a built-in audience. I'm only checking it out, only know about it, only so emotional enough to make a video about it because you slapped Taken on it. It's just a marketing ploy. That's the only reason to slap Taken on this whole deal. And it worked because I'm making the video, I'm talking about it, and I'm going to watch your show. So, sorry, I'm part of the problem. At the same time, I'm going to call it what it is, and you're using cheap tactics to get people to watch your shows instead of using creativity. You are behaving like you are not confident in your ability to come up with new ideas. You're acting as if you're not confident in audiences to respond to good shows, even though they've kind of consistently done that in the past. That worked really well for a really long time. And suddenly you've become afraid of any risk at all. Or you just kind of go through these lists of Lost, original concept, Friends, Seinfeld, original concept, no built-in audiences. You just go through the classic shows of the past, and most of them were not based off of something. Some of them were, but the majority weren't, and you find yourself now in an age where Hollywood and the TV executives want to play it safe with everything, and so we want to have an action thriller TV show about this herd guy whose daughters did. I don't know what we'd call it. Well, just slap Taken on it, call him Brian Mills, and we're good to go. Here we've got. That's how you market it. It's a cynical way to do things. It's kind of lacks any balls. We're just risk averse, and so therefore we're making decisions. What's the best way to do this so that there's no risk involved? And it's difficult to have too much respect for that as a tactic. So anyway, I'm pretty frustrated by the show, but I'm going to watch it. I just wish that they would give honest titles and they would be willing to just make good shows and think that they'll stand on their own and not use marketing gimmicks in existing brands. And like I said, the show doesn't look like it's actually going to be good. It just looks like it'll be something that would be watchable for me. So make of that what you will. Thank you so much for watching. What do you think about Taken the TV show? Is this another cynical corporate product, or does this look really good? I can't imagine who's going to check out this trailer and be like, oh man, best new show of next year. No, I'm pretty sure we're all... Actually, I'll find out. I can never guess when people are going to get mad at me, but let's have a lively discussion. I don't want to just talk about Taken. I want to talk about Taken with you. Let's talk about it in the comment section. Oh, hey, you're still here. Just so you know, you've been kidnapped, and the best way for me to be able to come and rescue you is if you subscribe to my channel, or if you click that little bell next to the subscribe button if you're already a subscriber. That way my videos show up actually in your recommended page in your feed, because YouTube's changed the algorithm. So if you want to see my videos, click that bell, click that subscribe button. That way I can save you from having been taken. And I've got a particular set of skills in making videos that I want to share with you. So please subscribe and click that bell. Thank you for watching.